We'll be back in about 15 minutes.
14th of December, Rabbi Levitt, Gemorrah.
Welcome back, Lou.
Thank you.
Okay, we are ready to proceed. Okay, so on Sunday, yes, that's when we learned on Sunday. This week we were discussing this statement of Abaye. Amalei Abaye. And Abaye said to Rabbi Yosef, to bra Yoris Abba lo Yoris bra. He asked on Abaye a rhetorical question. Is it so that only the son inherits the father, but that the father does not inherit the son? And then he said, after that, he said, Ella, rather, the reasoning is not like you have said, that it depends upon the fact that the son inherits the father, but it depends upon something else. It depends upon Labuchinu v'nikse mebra koyosi. Something about the fact that the son, in the case of the son that writes his property to his father, is not because of a matter of inheritance, even though the father does inherit the son, if the son has no sons of his own, but it's in order that to make sure that the property does not go to his own son. The son doesn't want his property to go to his own son. That's the reason why he's deeding the property to his father. And we have a Rashi on this. Let's take a look at what the Rashi has to say over here. We'll start over here with Abba lo Yoris bra. This is a little bit about I don't know, about 22 lines up from the bottom of the page. It's the last two words in line, Abba, lo. And then it continues on the next line, Yoris bra. Does everybody see that, Rashi?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, Lou, would you like to read this Rashi for us?
Abba lo Yaris bra. Does the father not inherit his son? V'i hava tane nami. And if we had learned also, if ibcha have amras nami. What is ibcha?
Hipcha, the opposite.
Opposite.
Meaning instead of the son, the father deeding to the son, or the son deeding to the father.
So if we had learned the opposite, we would have said also, Tama, the reason Mishum is because the Roy, that it's fitting Liyorshu to inherit who? That he would inherit. I'm not sure what he means.
Okay, so we have to really go back to what Rabbi Yosef said to really understand what Abaye is saying to him. What was it that Rabbi Yosef said? He said that, and now we have to understand what Rabbi Yosef is talking about. Rabbi Yosef was talking about the statement of Shmuel, that Shmuel said, Zu eino doima lemishnasenu. This case is not comparable to the case of our Mishnah, meaning that the case of the mother deeding her property to her son is not comparable to the case of the Mishnah, where it says that the father deeded his property to the son and held back the right to receive the paris to himself. And in the case of the mother, she deeded the property to her son, but she wasn't. But the as far as the paros, the produce of the Niksei Malud, they were being that was the right of her husband during their marriage. So Shmuel said that these two cases are not comparable, and Rabbi Yosef said the reason why they're not comparable is because of this factor of the recipient, whether the recipient is a yoresh of the donor. And so he started up with saying Itani Ipcha. If the Mishnah had said the opposite, meaning if the Mishnah had said that the son is the one who is deeding his property to his father, so then Rabbi Yosef says, then you would have a proof that Kinyan Paris is Kinyan Neguf, that when someone owns the right to receive the produce, it's tantamount to owning the property itself. That would hold back the sale of the one that was deeded the property. But he says that's not what the Mishnah says. The Mishnah says the case of the father deeding the property to the son, and since in that case the son is a yorish of the father, so we say that, well, the father did that because he wants the son to have an immediate interest in the property right now that he's deeding to him, and to be able to do as he wishes with it right now. And so now, whereas if it would have been the other way around, he wouldn't have been able to do that. So Abaye is saying, what? The father doesn't inherit his son? He's not an inheritor of his son? So Rashi is explaining the imports of the words of Abaye. Abaye, when he says, Abba lo yoris bra, the father does not inherit the son, Rashi fills in the point of Abaye. Ve'i habe tane nami ifcha. And if we had also learned in the Mishnah, ifcha, the opposite case, meaning the case of the son who deeds his property to his father, habe amart nami taima mishum de royli yarshuhu. We would have been justified in giving as the reasoning behind the case, because the father is fitting to inherit the son, because he in fact is fitting to inherit the son. He may not be the closest heir of the son. The son's own sons are the first ones in line to inherit the father. But Abaye feels that since the father is the second line inheritor, so that's good enough to invoke this principle that Rav Yosef wanted to say, and therefore it would be no different. We would also, in other words, we would have said the same thing in that case. That when the son intends to sell it to the father, by the same token, we should say that since the father is going to inherit the son, So then the son must have not had no other reason other than to do it right now, that he should get it right now, the father. He wants the father to get it right now. Oh, so now Abaye in the Gemorrah says, Ella, rather, what we have to say is that's not the reason for the din of the, it's not the reason for the din of the of that case of the son deeding to the father. One second. Well, let's see which case it is that he's talking about over there. Which is it, the father to the son or the son to the father? Hopefully Rashi will help us out over here. Let's
Ella,
see.
rather, al karchach, we are forced to say, bira dichsiv nichse leavo. What does bara mean?
That's the Aramaic for son.
Oh, son. Rather, we are forced to say that the son that wrote the property to his father, B'nai is le v'hai dichsiv. B'nai, his son, it is that he is writing the property le'avo to his father le'abruchinahu. What is that?
The word boreach, causative, to cause him to flee. In other words, to cause the property to flee away from his own son.
Mi b'nei, from his son. Ka'asi dechi mayis lo yarchu le b'nei. From his son, what is Ka'asi?
It's coming. This is what he's coming to do. The son. This is what the son's intention over here. We have to say is that we're talking about a case where even though the son does have his own sons who are inheriting him, but the reason that he deeded it to the father instead of the sons is because of the fact that he wants, he's coming to Lavruchinu b'nei Ka'asi. He's seeking to cause the property to flee from the son, meaning that the son won't get the property.
Right. What is Ma'isa?
The chimais, so that when he passes away, the son that deeded the property to his father,
Lo yarchu le b'nei. It will not be inherited by his son. Ella avo, rather his father. V'chi hava tane. And if we had learned ipcha, the opposite, hava amras hasam we would have said there, dik kane lokeach, that the purchaser acquires. Shelik kat hu min ha'av, that he purchased it from the father. Who Tama, this is the reason, Mishum, because diknin perus, that he acquired the perus, the produce, sheyesh lo leben, that there is to him, to the son, lav ki kaknin, kikanin, like a purchase, haguf, of the essence, who it is. Yechi zabin av dide kizabin, that when zabin means to purchase.
Oh yeah, zavin is a tricky word. Sometimes it seems like it means to buy. Sometimes it means to sell. He's zavin av, when the father sells it to a
Sells.
third party, to the lokeach.
It is indeed sold.
The day, it is his kazavin, that he is selling. It's his to sell. The sale will be good.
Okay. So what did we say here? We said that when the son dies, his son, the grandson, will not inherit. Rather, the father. Okay, so he's first part of the Rashi is saying that what Abaye is answering to Rav Yosef is that if the case was written in this way, we would reason that the reason that the son wrote it to the father is because he wants to keep it away from his son, and therefore the father well, let's see there. I'm not sure what the therefore is. But the father, when he if it was written the other way, that the father writes it to the son, we would say there that the purchaser acquires it. In other words, when the father writes it to the son, we say that when the son sells it, the purchaser acquires it from the father. No, I'm confused. I'm confused by this ibcha. What's when it says ibcha, it's reversing it back to the original case?
Yeah, let's try to figure this out again. Let's make a short introduction over here. What do we have over here? We have two cases that we're discussing. We have a case that Rav Yosef said that the case of the father deeding to the son, the reason why. Let's go like this. Let's go step by step. The first step is that it says in the Mishnah, we're trying to explain two cases. We're trying to explain the din, two different cases. That's what we're trying to do. Rav Yosef explained these two cases in one way, and Abaye is differing in his explanation of these two same cases. What are the two cases? The first case is the case of our Mishnah, which says that the father deeded to the son and held back the peiros in his lifetime. That's the case that the Mishnah does say. Now, the case that the Mishnah does not say is the case of the son deeding to the father and holding back the peiros in his lifetime. That's the case the Mishnah does not say. So over here, Abaye is differing with Rav Yosef, and he's saying, I have a completely different explanation of these two cases than you do. He's saying that in regard to the matter of the case of the Mishnah, it's not like you say, Rav Yosef. In that case, the father deeding to the son, the reason why the son can successfully sell it to a lokeach, and the owner of the peiros is not going to prevent him from doing so, is because the Mishnah does in fact hold kinyan aperis is kinyan aguf. That's the reason why. Not like you, Rabbi Yosef, said that it has to do with the fact that the son is a yoresh. Because in the other case around, the ipcha case of the son deeding the property of the father, that's the ipcha case. The father is also a inheritor of the son. But rather, the reason for that case, the ipcha case, when the son deeds to the father, the reason for that case is because the son wants to avoid his own son inheriting his property, and so therefore he deeds it to the father. Now, in that case, if the father would sell it in his lifetime, even if he passed away before the son that deeded to him, the sale would be a valid sale. It would be a valid sale.
Why?
Okay. Oh, so here's why. It's like we were saying the other day when I said, because he wants the father to get an immediate interest. And you said, no, that's not the reason. The reason is because he wants his own son to not get it. And you're right. But the only way that the son is not going to get it is if the father gets it right now. Because if the father doesn't get it right now, and this document is not made, then who's going to get it? Even if the father does survive this son. But if the grandson is around, who's going to get it? Who's the first inheritor? The grandson. And this father does not want his son to get the property. Nebuch. Then we have to talk about a case like this in the Gemorrah. But okay, it's a case. So how is he going to do that? The only way that he's going to be able to do that is if he deeds the property to his father, and not simply that he deeds the property to his father after he passes away, then the father will get it. But he has to deed the property to the father right now. Because if he doesn't deed the property to the father right now, the son is going to inherit it. I think that the inheritance would precede this document that says that the father should get it after the son passes away. Let's see what. So in other words, what Rashi is explaining over here is that Abaye, he's got a whole different take on these two cases over here. he disagrees with Rav Yosef about the reasoning of the whole the Yerusha, the pshat with the Yerusha, and he says there's a whole different reason over here why the son wants to write the property to the father, so that his own son will not get the property, and therefore he wants to. His intention is to make a deed to the father that the father has the right to the property right away, in spite of the fact that the son is holding the kinyan paris of the property, which Abaya says is kakinyan aguf dami. And that's the reason why Abaya says in the case of the Mishnah, when the father deeds the property to the son, that the son is able to sell it. In that case, the reason why the son is able to sell it is not because the son is an inheritor. It's because of the principle of kinyan paris kinyan aguf.
But in that case, the father owns the produce.
Oh, 1 second. So if he owned it, so then the son would not be able to transfer it to a purchaser. Let 1 second. So what does Rashi say over here? V'kihabitani ifcha, havi amar tahasam, v'kani lokeach, shalokhu min ha'av, havi time, mishum de kinyan paris, sheyesh lo leben, lav kekinyan aguf dahu. Right. Okay, so we just have to make an adjustment. Abaya is saying that he holds that the Mishnah case, the reason why the sale works is because kinyan paris is lav kekinyan aguf, like Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba. Rav Yosef wanted to say that the Mishnah does not stand for the principle that kinyan paris is lav kinyan aguf, but Abaya is saying that it does, and that's the reason for the Mishnah. And the case of the father, a case of the son selling to the father his land, that deeding it to his father, the reason for that is a different reason. It's because of he wants to avoid the property being inherited by his own son. So, in other words, you want to know what does it mean, ifcha? Rashi says over here, Ella, akorchach. Perforce we have to say, brora, the cause of niksei lavua. We have to say that the case, which is not the case of the Mishnah, but it's a companion case that we were discussing over here. In the event that the son would be selling, or just deeding the property to his father, Bonai Islay, the son does have his own sons. Bahai, the cause of Niksei Lavua, and why then did he write this deed to his father, that the father has a deed to that property, that the son's own sons should have inherited? Lavruchino ibnei kaosi. He wants that property to run away from his own sons. He's coming to do this thing, kaosi. He's coming to write this deed to his father. The case that when he passes away, lo yarsu le bini elavua. That when he does pass away, the son, he wants his father to get it, and not his own son.
So that contradicts what we said a minute ago, that the grandson would be the first inheritor.
Let's see here. Imeis lo yarsu le b'ni ela avua. One second. Okay, so the son is wants to make that the property does not go to his own son. That the son shouldn't inherit the property after the son passes away. Rather, his father should inherit it. So we're talking about a case where the father is going to outlive his son, and he's going to inherit the property to exclude the inheritance of the son. That's what it sounds like.
Right.
Okay, now what does Rashi say next? Vikihave tani ifcha. Now we the Have Amar. Vikihave tani ifcha. If we would have learned the opposite case, the Have Amar Hasam, and we would say over there, the Kani Lokeach. He would say over there that the Lokeach would acquire. Shalakho Mina'av. He purchased it from the father. Habitaima Bishum, the Kinyan Paris. Shayesh Lo Leben, Lav Kikinyan Aguf, who? We would say that's because the Kinyan Paris that the son held back to himself in his lifetime is not constitute ownership of the property itself, and therefore the father would be able to sell the property to a third party. Zavin av the day kozavin, and therefore when the father sells it, it is his to sell. We do not say okay, so when Rashi says ipcha over here, he's referring to the case that he's been talking about. The case of the son deeding to the father.
Well, I thought we were just talking about before the Ibka.
Yeah, we were.
So it has to be different.
No, he means when we're saying this case that we're talking about, this ifcha case.
Oh, I see.
Because it's clear from what he says afterwards. He's saying that the father is selling the property.
Okay. So in other words, what he's saying is, in this case, where Abaye says Ipka, which is the case that we're talking about, where the son deeds to the father, correct?
Yeah.
That's really confusing. But you're right, it has to be that way. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense.
So in other words, in spite of the fact that in other words, we're I think what Rashi means is that in spite of the fact that the reason that the son wrote it to the father is not so that the father would be able to get the property immediately. Rather, like you say, the reason that he wants to do that, the reason he wrote it to the father is not really for the purpose that the father should be able to sell it right now, but simply to keep the property from being inherited by his own son. But nevertheless, it does seem to be that Rashi's saying that since the son did deed the property to the father, that in fact the din would be that the father would be able to sell the property immediately that the son deeded to him. And that's because we say that kinyan of Paris is lav kinyan of goof.
Well, it says Kinyan Perus. So the reason that the sale is good is because of the Kinyan Perus. Sheyesh lo the ben, that there is to the son lav Kinyan haguf. Oh, the son. It is to the son, not Kinyan haguf. Why does it say to the son? Should be to the father. Oh, the son doesn't own the property. The father owns the property. That's why he can sell it. I see.
The kinyan pairs sheyesh lo leben lav kinyan aguf domi. Kizavin av didei kazavin. Okay, so
what's confusing me now is why is Rashi telling us that the operant principle here is kinyan haperos lav kinyan haguf, when we just said that the reason has to do with the inheritance of the grandson. If kinyan perus lav kinyan haguf, then it doesn't matter whether he's withholding it from his grandson or not. Once he deeds it to the father, the father owns the goof.
oh, see that
in any case.
See, here you have a situation where we can't say, according to Abaye, it doesn't operate on the basis of the fact that the father is a yoresh, and therefore, why did the son deed the property to the father? Must be because he wants him to have an immediate interest. Because otherwise, we would say kinyan Paris is kinyan aguf, and the father would not be able to do so. here we have a reasoning that Abai is telling us that the it's the intention of the son who's deeding the property to the father is not the same intention that Rav Yosef said.
But I'm saying, what do we care? If we establish that once the son deeds it to the father owns the goof. If he owns the goof, then he owns the goof, regardless of whether there's a grandson or not. He owns the goof. That's established. Therefore, he can sell it.
See, it seems in this case, if we're going to say the operating principle is that the son wants to avoid his own son from inheriting him, it would seem that if the din would be that allows us, if that's the operating principle, then the only reason why the father would be able to sell the property is because we say kinyan a Paris is lav kinyan a goof. Whereas if we say that the reasoning is because of he's the one who yarshins the donor, the recipient yarshins the donor, and why did the donor therefore deed this property to the recipient in his lifetime? Perforce it must be because he wants that he wants to have that this recipient be able to sell the property right now, because otherwise we would say he would not be able to sell the property right now. Why? Because kinyan a Paris is kinyan a goof, and he would not be able to sell it. So when you're working with the svara of Rav Yosef, that it's because the son is an inheritor. Oh, we're out of time.
Time is up.
Saved by the bell. All right. Okay, well, oh boy. So we're leaving some good work for Rabbi Sendik over here. So everybody have a great Tinus, and I'm going to be traveling tomorrow morning, and I have Rabbi Chaim Sendik is going to be filling in for me for a few days. I'm going to be back next week on I think on Tuesday. And so in the meantime, everybody have a great Tinus and a great end of the week.
Okay. Thank you. Travel safely, and
Hey,
I hope you don't get caught up in any funny business with the regulations.
Amen.
Mm.
Hashem is the one who's in charge. He will lead us the way. Bezrat Hashem.
All right then.
All the best.
You too. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
See you, Ellen. See you, Lou.